Before we dive into the gritty, resourceful world of wartime cooking, make sure to subscribe to After the Sirens and leave a comment sharing which of these forgotten techniques intrigues you the most. Today, we are stepping into the kitchens of World War II, where scarcity was the rule, and ingenuity was the only way to survive. Food shortages, rationing, and destroyed infrastructure forced families, soldiers and civilians to innovate in ways that seem almost impossible by today's standards. By the end of this guide, you will not only understand these hacks, but also see how they can be applied in survival situations, historical reenactments, or even extreme camping scenarios. You can cook using just sunlight when stoves are unavailable. During World War II, households and soldiers in sun-rich areas discovered that sunlight could be a potent cooking tool. Solar cookers, often handmade using tin sheets, glass or reflective surfaces, could trap heat and slowly cook grains, vegetables, and even eggs without a single flame. For example, families in rural France would place a blackened metal pot inside a glass-covered wooden box angled toward the sun. This created a mini greenhouse effect, gradually heating the contents. Practically, this technique requires patience but minimal resources, making it ideal for long days of outdoor survival. You can replicate this today by lining a cardboard box with aluminum foil, placing a dark pot inside and covering it with clear plastic, then leaving it in direct sunlight to cook root vegetables or dried beans over a few hours. Hot stones were a World War II trick revived from ancient cooking traditions. Stones heated in a fire or even under the sun could be dropped into water contained in metal cans or ceramic vessels to achieve a slow boil. Soldiers in improvised camps would heat stones in makeshift fires and then transfer them to food containers to cook stews or soups, all without a continuous flame. This method required careful selection of stones that wouldn't crack or release toxins when heated. To use this technique today, one can heat river stones in a pit fire. Carefully transfer them with tongs into a metal or clay container filled with water and grains, and let the heat gradually cook the food. It's slow, it's deliberate, but it worked reliably in wartime conditions. Wartime scarcity pushed civilians to explore fermentation not just for preservation, but as a form of, cooking without heat. Sauerkraut, pickled vegetables, and even fermented porridges allowed families to unlock nutrients and flavors without stoves or oil. In Eastern Europe, fermenting cabbage with salt and herbs provided a critical source of vitamins in those tough winter months. Applying this method today is actually quite simple. Chop vegetables, finely salt them to draw out moisture, press them into jars and, leave them at a cool room temperature for several days to ferment. Fermentation doesn't just preserve food, it transforms it, creating digestible proteins and vitamins in situations where cooking is impossible. Cabbage, grape and corn husks were used extensively during the Second World War to protect food while it cooked slowly or stayed warm. People would wrap root vegetables, grains, or small cuts of meat in large leaves and bury them in warm earth or sand. This insulation allowed residual heat from the sun or stones to cook the food slowly, similar to, modern sous vide techniques. To apply this method now, you line a pit or container with clean leaves, Place your ingredients inside cover with additional leaves and then bury or insulate the bundle. Within a few hours, the ingredients soften, absorb flavours and become edible without any direct flame. During the war, resourceful civilians and soldiers often used the condensation method to cook or soften food. Wrapping food in cloth or leaves and placing it in a closed container allowed trapped moisture to create steam, gradually cooking the contents. In practical terms, this is similar to how modern steam ovens operate, but requires no electricity. You can replicate it today by placing chopped vegetables in a tightly sealed jar or pot, adding just a bit of water covering it and letting it sit in a sunny window or near residual heat from a sheltered area. Over time, the moisture circulates, cooking the ingredients gently. Finally, one of the most overlooked World War II hacks was the use of underground cellars or pits to regulate temperature and facilitate slow cooking or aging. Root vegetables, dairy and even dough could be buried to maintain consistent cool temperatures while relying on residual heat or natural fermentation processes. Families in the Netherlands would dig shallow pits, line them with straw and store foods wrapped in cloth or leaves. Over time, the food would ripen, soften or develop flavours without direct fire. Practically, one can dig a pit in a garden, insulate it with straw and place sealed food containers inside to leverage this natural, fireless method for storage or cooking. These 7 World War II cooking hacks demonstrate the ingenuity, resilience and adaptability of people living under extreme conditions. They reveal that scarcity doesn't just challenge survival, it sparks innovation. For historians, reenactors or survival enthusiasts, these techniques provide tangible insights into resourcefulness and human creativity in the most constrained circumstances. Subscribe to After the Sirens and share this guide with fellow history enthusiasts. Comment below to let us know which of these techniques you would try in modern survival situations or historical experiments.